And today we get to try Tokit's new induction hobs. And if you don't know Tokit, they are a relatively new brand which is adding the smart into small home appliances. And today we get to try their induction hobs. And in the Tokit range, this is their portable hob, which currently retails at 107 euros here in Europe. They also have a level up one, which is their smart hob, which of course has a little bit more function, a little bit more connectivity to the phone, and is currently retailing at 129 euros here in Europe, with a little bit of a discount because it's generally 143. But let's put this to the test. So this is what I got in the post. When we open it up, and out of the box, we have our instructions. We're gonna look at this in a minute. Very nicely packaged. And here comes this super thin, very slick looking hob. So the hob is looking really, really nice. It's plastic, but it seems a really toughened plastic. The knob has got a really nice feel to it. It goes tick, 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 tick as you turn it. We're going to try that in a minute. In the middle, here there is the temperature sensor. And it's really amazing how thin this really is. It kind of feels like you're cooking on an iPad. Of course, given it's so thin, you can see it's got air vents all around the machine. I'm really curious to switch it on and see what's the noise level on this one. So I brought a ruler for this because honestly it's so thin I wanted to measure by myself. In the thinnest part, we're reaching 16 millimeters. That's insane. Here where there is the cooking plate, we are at 20 millimeters, so 2 centimeters. The measurement is height 35 and width 28. This is exceptionally portable and also it's pretty light. So it's pretty good if you want to take around, say you like camping or you want to kind of cook on the go. This seems like a really interesting option. And if you're at home, you can just kind of store it somewhere without taking too much space. What I would like to see actually is maybe a storage sleeve for this so that, once you're not using it, I'm just kidding. And while we're at it, let me introduce my new director, Amedeo. He's in charge of the camera and today decided also to be in charge of making sure the floors are spotty clean. So get behind the camera, you. All right. So like I was saying, I think it'd be cool if there was like a sleeve, like you can put it on and you can kind of store it somewhere safe in the kitchen or when you're taking it around. But from that, let's plug it and try it on. So it has an NFC function in the middle. So I'm going to be putting my phone to it and see what happens. So this is where the smartness comes from. When you click on it, you got a bunch of recipes that you can try and use. Oh, they got like little videos as well. So step number 1, we got to switch it on. There's a little hob. You can hear it breathing as we're switching it on. I guess it's stopping because it's not perceiving any hob on it. So we'll try that again later. And it's got a really handy pause button here, which puts the cooking to the pause. Unpause. This induction hob goes from a power of 2100 to as low as 100. What does that mean from a practical cooking point of view? It means that you can do slow cooking at the 100, but also if you need that extra power, you can go full blast. So I thought of a recipe that can test a few of these claims. So I went to the market and I got zucchini flowers, which what we're going to do is we're going to be frying them. So we're going to test how it deals with the fry, which to me is really important because induction cookers, at least in my house, are often used to fry because you can actually take them away from the kitchen, you can move somewhere else, and keeping the temperature during a fry is a bit tricky. So I'm curious to see how this performs. And then obviously we're going to be boiling pasta. And one of the things that I think induction hobs are really good at is that they can boil pasta really quickly, while they can boil water really quickly. So I'm going to see whether it actually does that. And I'm actually curious to compete it against the kettle, which I would normally use to see whether this is actually more efficient than even using a kettle. So first up, we need to separate the flour. So take a zucchini, you just stop it. In the middle, you'll see that there are all the bits and pieces that belong to the flour. So those, you just break them out and you don't need this. So the inside, and this is exactly what you want. We then take our little zucchinis and we cut them nice and thin. You can use a mandolin, or you can just use a knife, whatever's easier. Of course, with a mandolin, it can be a lot quicker, but obviously make sure you keep all your fingers with you. In this recipe, it's divided into 3 steps. The first one is to make the butter for our fry up. So for that, we need flour, sparkling water, so you can put a little bit of yeast or bicarbonate, and this is the consistency you're going for in your batter. Now, before we use it, we are going to stick it in the fridge for about 20 minutes. Now it's time to put this really to the test. So we're going to be frying. Peanut oil. The original recipe requires you to fry in extra virgin olive oil, which we all know it's a bit pricey. So what I find is quite a nice compromise to mix peanut oil with extra virgin olive oil. You still get a little bit of that beautiful flavor from the olive oil, and it's a little bit kinder to your wallet. And some extra virgin olive oil. And I want to measure the time to take me to 180 degrees Celsius. So full whack. At the moment we are room temperature, so 20 degrees. And when it's on, actually it's relatively quiet. The one I've been using lately kind of goes, I mean, this obviously you hear in the vents, but it's much better. So 1 minute has passed and we are 50 degrees. Okay, 4 minutes, we are 180 Celsius. So we're going to lower this a little bit just to avoid it going overboard. And we're going to start adding here the zucchini that you want to fry. Still at the maximum setting, temperature obviously dropped to 135. Well, that's when you add food to oil, but it's going back up to the 180 that we want to. Definitely holding a pretty nice fry. And when they're nice and brown, this come out. Kitchen paper, we'll let them rest and dry up. So when they're still hot, like this, we take some fresh basil and we just throw it on top of it. Second batch is in. We finish off by salting the one we just took out. Take a nice lovely provola, remove the casing. Well, with our second batch done, then we get to use the other setting, which is pause. We have not finished cooking, we're just taking a pause because then we need to do the flowers. Butter out of the fridge, and we're going to add some ice cubes because the colder the butter, the crispier is your flowers. So press pause again. So the pause basically tells the machine that doesn't want a change of setting. So you press pause or unpause and you go back to whatever number you had preparing. So we had a full blast. So we want to bring it back to 190, which it's 100. Well, we want to bring it back to 180. It's 180 now. So actually it was pretty much ready. Our buttered flowers, we let the butter drip off. Put that in here. And his friend. Ooh, it's gorgeous. See, this is the kind of flowers I like to receive. And as I'm frying this, I must say I've put it at setting 8, temperature 8. And it's been keeping at 180 degrees Celsius, which is exactly what I need to fry. And I'm very impressed because I think once you get to the right temperature that you need, considering the speed at which you take stuff out and you put stuff in, which in this case is 8, it's great and it's quiet. So I'm going to, let's finish cooking, then we taste it. If it's been some good zucchini flour to eat as well, that is passed the frying test. And now let's actually try it out. Oh my God. Are you hearing the crunch? Whoa. This is delicious. Really hot. Really hot, but really delicious. Let's pass the test for frying. Now we need to make pasta and see if it passes the test for making pasta as well. See. And at this point, the technology failed me and my audio stopped working. So let me narrate what's happening here. So I devised a fun test to check whether I would be able to boil the water faster. The kettle, which is what I would normally use, or the induction hob. And hold and behold, with less than 5 minutes on the clock, Tokit won. It was a pretty close one, but I thought it was pretty cool that the induction hob was faster than the kettle, which at the end of the day is only made to boil water. Anyway,
With the water boiling, and of course you need a rolling boil, you add the salt and then the pasta. This pasta has 12 minutes cooking time, so if you follow the channel, you know, and if you don't follow the channel, I encourage you to do so. We do fun regional recipes nearly every week. We use the last few minutes to cook directly in the pan, adding cooking water, and this really helps making it, very extra creamy. Then separately in a pan, we add some extra virgin olive oil, the good one, and some garlic. We'll let it warm up so that the oil gets the flavor of the garlic. Then we add the zucchini, followed by the pasta and some pasta water. And we keep adding ladles of pasta water until the pasta is cooked. And I'm also taking a few flowers. I cut it really thinly and I added it to the pasta for some nice color and flavor. But before we wrap up the recipe, let me conclude the review. I love this kitchen gadget. It's small but powerful, it's quiet, it looks beautiful. We tested it under a couple of scenarios. We went full blast to boil the water, and we kept it at a constant temperature for the fry. In both cases, it performed really fantastic. I would also like to test it for slow cook, keeping it low and slow, but I guess there'll be time for that. Considering this is the lower end induction hob from Tokit, I was absolutely impressed. I definitely see myself using this one in my future videos and retiring my old induction hobs, which were really clunky, really big, and I would say quite noisy. But now let's wrap up the receipt. When the pasta is cooked, take it off the hob and let it cool down a little bit. At this point, we add the provolone, some more pasta water, so that the cheese can start melting and create a lovely cheese pool. And now we only have one thing to do. Well, it's eating it. Buon appetito.